there, I'm Nidhi. Welcome to my corner of the internet. Have you ever felt drained or confused in a relationship? You might be dealing with someone who is emotionally immature. You see, emotional immaturity isn't about a person's age. It's about how they handle their emotions and interact in relationships. In today's video, let's dive into understanding this dynamic and how do we navigate it. So let's first understand what is emotional immaturity. You see, emotional immaturity isn't a personal attack, but recognizing patterns can help us set healthier boundaries. Now, some of the common signs of emotional immaturity would include difficulty with empathy, struggling to understand or share other person's feelings. Number 2, poor communication, avoiding difficult conversations, blaming others or engaging in gaslighting. Number 3, immature coping mechanism. So relying on blame, defensiveness, or avoidance to manage stress. Number 4, unrealistic expectations. Having an inflated sense of entitlement or demanding constant validation. Let me explain all this better with an example. So let's imagine Sarah, a highly accomplished professional, in a relationship with David. Now, while David is successful in his career, their personal life is fraught with tension. David often dismisses Sarah's feeling, insisting that she's overreacting. He avoids discussing their relationship problems, preferring to focus on distractions. This pattern of behavior is indicative of emotional immaturity, and it can lead to feelings of isolation and resentment for Sarah. Emotional immaturity isn't restricted to one relationship. It can manifest differently across relationships. Let's look at some patterns to understand this better. So let's think of romantic partners. Now, emotional immaturity might involve jealousy, possessiveness, or an inability to commit. They may struggle with conflict resolution, often resorting to blaming or stonewalling. So imagine Jane and Tom. Jane wants to discuss their future together, but Tom, he avoids these talks, often getting defensive or blaming Jane for bringing up the subject. His jealousy and possessiveness add strain, making Jane feel trapped and undervalued. How does this look like in friendships? Emotionally immature friends might be overly dependent, unreliable, or dismissive of your feelings. They may also struggle with maintaining boundaries. So think of Lisa and Emily. Emily constantly seeks Lisa's validation, yet is dismissive of Lisa's feelings. When plans go wrong, Emily blames Lisa, making Lisa feel unsupported and misunderstood. What does this look like in family members? You see, within families, emotional immaturity can manifest as enabling behaviors, difficulty in setting limits, or a tendency to play the victim. So picture Mark and his parents. Now, Mark's parents struggle to set limits, often enabling his irresponsible behavior. When confronted, they play the victim, making Mark feel guilty for addressing the issues. Workplace. In professional settings, it might appear as difficulty in taking responsibility, blaming others for mistakes, or just struggling to collaborate effectively. So let's take the example of Alex, who struggles to collaborate effectively at work. When a project fails, Alex blames colleagues, avoiding responsibility and creating a toxic work environment. You see, dealing with emotional immaturity can leave you feeling drained, resentful, and actually questioning your self-worth. So it's crucial to remember that you're not responsible for the other person's emotional growth. So the real important question is, how do you deal with someone who's emotionally immature without actually losing your own sanity? And here are 10 effective ways of doing that. Number 1, setting healthy boundaries. Setting boundaries is essential for your well-being. This involves communicating clearly and enforcing consequences when necessary. Use I statements to express your feelings without blaming or accusing, such as saying, I feel undervalued when my concerns are dismissed. If boundaries are consistently crossed, be prepared to distance yourself. For example, if a friend continually cancels plans at last minute, consider reducing your reliance on them for social activity. Number 2, stay calm and composed. You see, when dealing with emotionally immature individuals, maintain your composure. Reacting emotionally can escalate the situation. So for example, if someone starts yelling or blaming you irrationally, take a deep breath, speak calmly, and avoid raising your voice. This can prevent the situation from turning into a full-blown argument. Number 3, limit engagement. Engage minimally in situations where a person is being particularly immature or irrational. This can prevent unnecessary conflict. For instance, if a colleague is having a tantrum over minor feedback, politely excuse yourself and return to the conversation when they are a bit more composed. Number 4, reinforce positive behavior. When the person demonstrates maturity or positive behavior, acknowledge it. Positive reinforcement can actually encourage them to continue such behaviors. For example, if a friend who usually avoids responsibility finally takes initiative, compliment them on their efforts, saying things like, "I really appreciate how you handle that situation." Number 5, detach emotionally. Practice emotional detachment to avoid being overly affected by their behavior. This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you protect your emotional well-being. If a family member, for example, frequently blames you for their problems, remind yourself that their issues are not your responsibility and focus on maintaining your own peace of mind. Number 6, use empathy wisely. Understand where somebody might be coming from, but avoid enabling their behavior. You see, empathy can help in managing your response better. For example, if your partner had a really tough day at work and is acting out, emphasize by saying, "I understand you're stressed, but set boundaries if the behavior becomes disrespectful." Number 7, set time limits. If interactions often turn negative, set time limits on how long you engage with this person. This can help in managing your emotional energy. For instance, if a friend tends to vent excessively, let them know you can only chat for a certain amount of time and suggest picking up the conversation later if it becomes too draining for you. Number 8, offer solutions, not criticism. Instead of pointing out somebody's flaws, offer constructive solutions or alternative ways to handle situations. For example, if a colleague is not meeting deadlines, instead of saying, "You're always late," which isn't productive, suggest, "How about we create a timeline to help manage the task better?" Number 9, create a support network. Surround yourself with emotionally mature and supportive individuals who can provide perspective and encouragement. If dealing with an immature family member is overwhelming, make sure you have friends or a support group to talk to who can offer you advice and emotional support. And number 10, work on yourself. Educate yourself about emotional maturity and healthy relationship dynamics to better understand what to expect. Lower your expectations, as change takes time and it may not happen at all in some cases. So focus on your own growth by developing your emotional intelligence and communication skills. And like I said before, seek support by talking to friends or family or even a therapist about your experiences to gain perspective and encouragement. You see, recognizing emotional immaturity in others, it can be really challenging, but understanding the dynamics empowers you to set boundaries and protect your own well-being. Remember, you deserve healthy and fulfilling relationships. If you're struggling with an emotionally immature person in your life, the first step is actually to start by identifying behaviors that might indicate emotional immaturity in your relationships. Remember, you deserve better. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care.